Napolitano.
Hello, Jamie. How are you?
I know to you I may look old. Hope this statement ain't too bold, but here comes the judge.
Judge Napolitano, how are you, my friend? By the way, looking fabulous on television these days, buddy.
Oh, aren't you kind, Jamie?
Yeah,
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Hey, I wanted to ask you, this is where we get the judge's verdict on this. I'm trying to figure out whether it's not about before we get to the whole relationship with Vice President Pence and General Flynn, is what General Flynn did, to the best of our knowledge, illegal, or what is the problem with whatever happened there with the Russians?
Well, it would depend upon what happened, but it's a 1799, talking about the presidency of John Adams, the second president of the United States, statute, which prohibits private individuals, that is, people not in the government, from conducting what appears to be foreign policy in behalf of the government. No one in the history of the country has ever been prosecuted for violating this, and it gets violated all the time, exactly when it has been alleged General Flynn violated it. That is the time period between the election of a president of the United States in early November and the president's assuming office in mid-January. Bill Casey, who would eventually run the CIA, famously began negotiating with the Iranians in behalf of President-elect Ronald Reagan shortly after Reagan defeated Carter. So Carter's still in the White House. The Iranians are still holding hostage Americans held at the former American embassy. And Bill Casey, whom Reagan nominates to run the CIA and would run the CIA for most of Reagan's presidency, is negotiating with the Iranians. And Reagan claimed he knew nothing about it. He obviously knew about it and authorized it, and nothing happened. This was a series of negotiations that went on for a month and a half. General Flynn had one phone conversation with the foreign minister of Russia, basically saying, I understand, I didn't see the transcripts, we might look at sanctions differently than President Obama did. And the press, which loathes Trump and anybody he appoints, saw this as an opening, and they drove a truck through it. And to my dismay and disappointment, when I woke up this morning, General Flynn was gone, with a president willing to stick by him. Donald Trump is notoriously and famously loyal to his friends and appointees, but I think that the general felt this was a distraction for the White House, but I wish he had stuck it out. I got to know him during the campaign. He was at Fox a lot. I think he's just perfect for that job, but now he's gone.
Yeah, and
I
guess
that's the law. A little bit of my political editorializing at the end.
Well, now, yeah, and here's the fallout from this, because as you pointed out, President Trump and General Flynn have been tight. I mean, these guys are really close. And do you think at some point, and I hope this doesn't happen, but do you think at some point President Trump will start to look inward and say, all right, how did this get to the point where it was untenable? How did it get to the point where General Flynn felt compelled to resign and look for somebody to blame for it? Because
so here's the difference in the Flynn situation: one phone call versus dozens in the Bill Casey situation 37 years ago.
Right.
Flynn apparently misrepresented what he said, and somehow somebody recorded the conversation and gave a transcript, and so the version he gave to the vice president was radically at odds with the version in the transcript. Now the White House and the Congress want the FBI to conduct an investigation who recorded this and who prepared the transcripts, and now we have the government devouring itself in
right.
its fourth week in office.
Well, because the NSA, because at this point, with General Flynn not holding an office, there wouldn't be a stenographer taking the conversation down. So it would be the NSA that would have, or somebody that would have actually recorded the conversation, as they would anytime there is some kind of communication from Russian higher-ups, because they basically have these guys tapped, right?
Of course, well, they have all of us tapped. but they don't admit that they have us tapped, and they rarely produce transcripts unless it's for some political purpose. I kind of doubt that it was the NSA, but it could have been. It was probably somebody in the transition team that doesn't like the general and used this as a means to get rid of him. The general is a very, very independent person who doesn't really take direction from anybody except the president. The president has created a West Wing with several power centers, without mentioning names, and some of those power centers might have felt threatened by General Flynn.
Wow. I mean,
I'm hoping he gives it to General Petraeus. I'm a fan of General Petraeus. When the president asked me, he was president-elect at the time, about General Petraeus, I said you should pardon him immediately, whether you're going to put him in your cabinet or not.
Right.
So that would be the absolute requirement. He couldn't be national security advisor as a convicted felon because he couldn't get a national security clearance, and you can't do that job without a national security clearance.
Well, to me, President Trump really, this is a bad situation for him not to be able to trust whatever is going on in terms of internally, the leaks and all this kind of stuff. Man, it's no wonder he's keeping things close to the vest on a number of matters and then being attacked for it afterwards, including this whole executive order thing. But I don't know. I can't imagine him in his situation being able to trust people. That's a hallmark of being able to be in this situation and successfully.
Yes, he's very big on that, but he now knows that some person or persons in his shop are prepared to undermine other people in his shop, and that is 180 degrees from the way Donald Trump has run his businesses and plans to run the executive branch.
Well, how do you find out who that is?
He believes in loyalty to him, and it's bilateral, and loyalty to the cause. So he would prefer, if you got a problem with General Flynn, come to me and tell me. Don't record some conversation that he had and then leak the recording. I mean, that is just terribly demoralizing for everybody else there.
Boy, no doubt. I wonder who that is. It's somebody on the case there.
No idea. I'm sure they have an idea, and they'll decide whether or not they want to go after that person or how they want to deal with it.
Judge Napolitano, always great to talk to you. Thank you, as usual.
No matter what we talk about, it was great to talk with you, Jamie.
No doubt about it. That's Judge Napolitano at Judge Knapp, judgenap.com. Have a blessed weekend, my friend. Thank you.